What's up, all you doodles and doodlers out there? Welcome back to another episode of Doodle Talk. This is episode 18. Woo! 18 is my favorite number, so it's gonna be a good one. I can feel it. Yeah, 18 was my soccer number back in the day, and I don't know, just a cool number. So I like 2, 4, 18. Those are probably my top 3 right there. But yeah, it's episode 18. We're chugging along. We're doing it, baby. And if you've noticed, today I have a new light. We're going RGB. We're going RGB, everyone. Yeah, I got a little light, a cheap little light. But it's pretty cool, and I like it. And I don't know, like most people, I'm a sucker for RGB. I'm trying really hard to make better lighting and stuff. I don't have super great equipment or anything, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to make this podcast not look terrible. I think it looks okay. I do have, hopefully, probably sometime within the next couple of weeks, there will be something that will be coming in, and I'm trying to get a cool little setup going. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm pretty excited. So if you don't like the way this looks, that's fine. It's gonna change a little bit. But yeah, not much going on with me. Just been working a lot on the Doodle Island animation that I mentioned last time, and it's going. I finished all the storyboards, and I did a rough cut, like made it animatic for it basically, and started to test out how the sounds and the music is gonna go on it. And it's looking good. I'm really excited. But unfortunately right now I'm just in the really grindy, depressing part of the project where you're just like, oh, I have to sit down and actually animate this cape flowing in the wind. And luckily, like I said last time, I the way I storyboarded it and the way I made the beats and everything, and like there's no complex backgrounds or anything. It's a lot of like panning and sliding across the screen. There's no like actually intense like camera movements from like an animating perspective. It's all just like a 2D camera that I'm using, going over on top of every like essentially static or slightly moving animations. It's kind of like a lot of like looped animations with moving backgrounds and stuff. So I did it to the best of my ability. I tried to simplify everything, and which is something you got to think about, because you could have the coolest idea in the world, but if you don't plan it out in a practical way of how you're actually going to achieve it, and how you can actually, I mean, like realistically, logistically sit down and be like, okay, I can finish this in XYZ amount of time, therefore I need to do this and that, or like I'm going to do it this way so that I know that it won't give me too much work to do. Because not all of us can just stop everything we're doing in life and like just sit down and animate a little short, for 6-7 days in a row and knock it out. This is something I've been working on in my free time, and I do this weekend have a little bit more time, so hopefully I'll be able to get a large chunk done, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't have a hard deadline on this thing, but I really want to finish it within the next week. I think I can do it, so we're gonna try. And speaking of the animation, I do have a new, I guess it's not really related to that, but I do have another Pokemon mashup. It should be out by the time this comes out. And this time, should I spoil it? Yeah, I'll spoil it. It's not like a big spoiler or anything, but it was Gengar and Cowboy. It was really fun. The last one was Slowpoke and the Kappa, which is like a yokai. And this time it was Gengar and Cowboy, which is really awesome. And I really like, if you watch the videos, nothing's faked, right? Like I have to do like little quick cuts, jump cuts, just to make the video a little bit shorter. But those are real. Like I pulled both of those out at the same time, not like I rearranged, because they're all pretty interesting. I'm really excited because I did record them like before. I recorded me pulling a bunch of them, so I don't have to sit down and like set up that shoot over and over again. But I think I know the next one that I'm going to do, and it's going to be really, really fun. I'm super excited for that one. But please check out the Gengar one and the Slowpoke one if you haven't. The Slowpoke one's been doing really well on Instagram and stuff, so I'm super excited about that. Still having trouble getting reach on like TikTok or YouTube. Instagram, I've used Instagram more than the other ones, and so I think that's part of it, where I just am a little bit more experienced, I think, and a little bit more knowledgeable of working the algorithm, and you can boost your posts and stuff on Instagram. It really sucks because it's like, it's a little bit pay to play, and it really sucks because once you pay a little bit, you see like how well they can, like, how much better they can make things perform just because you're giving them, even like, you know, I don't do a lot, even if it's like $5 over like 3 days or something like that. It's pretty amazing how all of a sudden you can reach a bunch of people, and it's like, wow, kind of fucking sucks, but what are you gonna do about it? At least it's reaching more people. YouTube and stuff like that, I'm still having a lot harder time, but these things take time. I'm just trying to stay consistent, and yeah, I have a few other videos. I have another exciting YouTube video that I did some testing for earlier. It's kind of an art project one. I'm really excited, but I can't really share too much because I would just give it away what it's going to be right away. So yeah, check those out and keep an eye out for anything else that I've been posting. The Doodle Island will be done soon, so that one will be really cool, and I'm going to try and give that a nice big push. And that'll be going up on everywhere, you know, Instagram and YouTube and stuff too. But it's not vertical. The Pokemon mashups are all like vertical. The Doodle Island one is going to be a horizontal 16:9 ratio. So that'll be like a legit, like, short animation kind of vibe to it. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, thanks to anyone who checks that stuff out. I really, really appreciate it. And anyone who listens to the podcast still and stuff too. Kind of going off of, I had the perfect segue going, but I forgot I needed to shout out some of those things. The thing I wanted to talk about today is when are you ready to start? Like, when are you ready to start a project, a series, a new idea, a new video, a new anything really? And this is another one where it does not apply just to like artists and like, you know, like drawing and illustration and animation. This pretty much applies to anything in life. Because I was thinking about it, right? I've been able to kind of like connect the past few weeks, like the ideas that I've been talking about on Doodle Talk. And last week I kind of was talking about like stepping out of your comfort zone and just like starting that thing even if you know you're not ready. And I thought, like, to kind of almost like a devil's advocate kind of thing of like, okay, when you want to step out of your comfort zone, what kind of project are you going to take on? Because like I was saying, doing the animation, like, I was very purposeful and about what I was doing to make it simple, so because I knew I needed to do it I needed it to be a shorter amount of time. I needed the backgrounds to be simple, everything that I could do, basically, like, I wouldn't have to do a whole lot of like practicing or experimenting or testing. While I have been doing some of that while I'm making it, I laid it out so that it was essentially like I knew I was gonna be able to do everything in a certain amount of time with like a certain amount of effort, right? And I did that on purpose because if I really just wanted to create something that would like start this idea that I have and really get the ball rolling, right? Now, if I was trying to do something else, maybe I would have approached it differently, but the thing is like I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and so I was able to be practical in like my preparation for it, and that allowed me to then step out of my comfort zone and just start making it. Because the thing I kind of want to just touch on today, right, is that kind of idea of like, because you might say like, yeah, okay, step out of my comfort zone, I get it, like, sure, but a lot of people, I think artists, we have this like, we have things we work on, right, like all the time or like day by day, and the little things, and that's fine. But I think like most people, because if you're a writer or you're an artist, you'll know what I'm talking about here, where it's just like you get these ideas, these story ideas in your head that like it's so funny because I think of that meme where it's like the couple's laying on the bed and it's the girl like looking over at the guy, and she's like, he's probably thinking about other girls right now, and it's just the guy with like a thought bubble, and it's always like the most like mundane thing, or he's like thinking about like the most like random specific thing that's like has nothing to do with girls at all. And I always think of like, Like whenever I get into these idea flow states or whatever, I just think of that meme, and it's like he's probably thinking about girls, and I'm like, what would this character's shoe color be if they were in this world, and would it affect how they like go about their life, or like the most like crazy random specific stuff. And you get on like, right, so all that is to say, like, we start thinking about all these things, we create these grand ideas, we create these stories in our heads. Like, I still have 2 or 3 like huge story ideas that I would really love to like see come to life someday, and I've like attempted a few of them, 1 or 2. I have one story that's like really close to my heart, as like I really want to do it the right way, and I just felt like I couldn't get the style of what it needed to be because it was like about a year or 2 ago is when I was mostly focusing on it. I even wrote out a lot of the story. It changed a lot, but I was even storyboarding some of the stuff too. I was gonna be a comic, but yeah, I kind of had to put it to the side because there was like diminishing returns coming in from me spending so much time on it, right? And I think that's something important to also say, with the point of like, hey, don't wait, just start. Hey, step out of your comfort zone and do things that you want to do. But it's like I don't know, what is that, like, it's like a advice proverb kind of thing, where it's like, if you practice something incorrectly, this goes for music a lot, this is like a musician thing, a lot of people will stress this, teachers will stress this, like, if you practice something the wrong way 100,000 times, it's going to be less beneficial for you if you practice it slowly and meticulously or methodically like 100 times, right? If you're doing a scale on the piano, you're playing like a C major scale, and you learn the wrong fingerings, right? It's like, I mean, if you're good, you're good. It doesn't really matter, but there's going to be times if you're doing a really long run and you don't know how to like change fingerings and make it the best way that you want to be, or like if you're drawing something and you can draw faces but you can't draw bodies, right? Or it's like the hands problem, where it's like nobody wants to practice hands because they're afraid of drawing hands, so you may have the most like badass drawing of all time, and it's just like their hands are just like this, or like behind them, and stuff like that, this is what I'm kind of trying to get at here, is like there's one extra like kind of thought that you have to put into starting an idea or a project that you want to do. And I just thought of a few examples to like illustrate my point. And one of them is like, let's look at this spectrum, right? So you could be writing like a 5 series novel, or like a five novel series, like some Game of Thrones shit, right? Like George R.R. Martin did not sit down when he's 17 and like the first book he ever wrote was not like the rough draft for Winds of Winter or whatever. Feast of Crows or whatever his first book is. Like, there's so much shit he had to do in order to get to that point. And I can tell, obviously he's really slow with writing, and it's like because he's meticulous and he probably plans a ton of shit out, and he's always talking about he has trouble even getting like a page a day done or whatever sometimes, and he's busy doing other things, right? And all of that is just like extra outside influence that you have to worry about on top of this, right? So it's like, if you're gonna sit down and be like, don't wait, just start, I'm gonna start my 5 novel series today, it's like, don't do that, because you're gonna do it anyways in your head, at the very least. Like, you're gonna do it, you're gonna try it. So like, I'm just here to tell you, like, because I'm gonna do it too, right? But it's like, don't let that be the only thing you do, because you're not going to be able to do it. You gotta start slow, you gotta start small, right? Now the other thing, like looking on the other side of the spectrum, it's just like a drawing, one single drawing, right? If you're like, I have this idea, it's not that complicated, I want to draw a chicken on a dog house with some clouds in the background. Boom. Don't wait, just start. Step out of your comfort zone. Maybe do it in a style or something that you haven't tried yet, or like, you haven't painted clouds in the background before, like do that, or are we going to do it digitally, right? That's how you apply it, like that. Don't wait, just start and step out of your comfort zone doesn't apply to a 5 novel series, because you need preparation for that, and you need to be at a certain point in your like skill level in order to do that, right? Now, I mean, take this all with a grain of salt, right? Because I'm saying this now, but it's like, there is still, I mean, yeah, it sounds stupid, right? But it is still like, there's the aspect of like, don't wait to start. You do need to start it, right? So all I'm trying to say is like, you can start planning things and you can start thinking of things and you can take little steps towards that big goal. Especially if you're not like full-time, like just writing or just being an artist, right? But you got to be practical. You got to be like logical in your approach to these things, because otherwise you're going to bite off more than you can chew. And you're probably going to be like, you could still get it done. Hey, I mean, like, I don't want to discourage anyone in saying this, right? You could still get it done. You might learn so much along the way, but it could take you like 14 years to write like 3 full-length novels, and then you're like, you know, or you didn't edit them properly and stuff like that. All I'm trying to say is like, that if you have patience and you do things a little bit methodically, then you can really just take advantage of whatever you're working on and like build your way up to creating the other thing. Because another main, like, an important thing to consider here is like, if you start small and just 1 step out of your comfort zone, right? Because if you jump 10 steps out of your comfort zone, you're not really going to grow. You're just like trying to do something that's you're not ready for, or is like a little bit too difficult for you to do. This applies like anything, right? And just know that like, you're taking small steps. Things are going to change over time, because you might be thinking like, oh, I gotta plan everything out. I gotta make the characters right and stuff like that. And it's like, don't worry too much about that. That was the thing with like the Doodle Island animation that I wanted to do. I purposely made it simple enough that I knew within my skills I could still animate it. I was going to learn something because I was doing a few things that I'd never done before. I was stepping just a little bit outside of my comfort zone and doing it. And it was still attainable enough that I was really excited to make it, and still am excited working on it, even in the grindy phases of it. And don't worry too much about the other stuff, because it's like, styles and stuff change over time. I always just think of that too, because it's like, you have to prep things, right? Like if you're gonna make a full-length animation series, you know, like a long-running cartoon show or something like that, you have to like character sheets, you have to design all the characters, you gotta have color palettes and stuff that are like like designated for the people who do the coloring and stuff, because they need to know like exactly what colors to use and stuff. There's so much that goes into it, but you don't have to worry too much about everything, right? Because even in like a professional show or a manga or a comic or something like that, like I always think of Tony Chopper from One Piece. If you read One Piece or watch One Piece, you'll know that like when you first see him in Drum Island, and he looks totally different from what he looks like now. He's kind of like more, I mean, he's still an animal, he's a reindeer, right? But he has like a little bit more like animalistic features and stuff. And then later on, Oda changed him to have like a round head, and he looks more like a mascot now, essentially. I mean, he's even talked about it. So like things like that change over time, right? And this isn't a bad thing, because when you're changing and evolving, it normally means that things are becoming more interesting, or at the very least are like turning into more of the artist's original vision. So you don't have to worry about that stuff as much as you have to just like keep in mind that you need to be practical about how you approach some of the things that you want to start. And this is just for people who want to grow as fast as they can, because I've noticed this in my own work, where it's like, this is working for me and I'm learning at a much quicker rate, and I'm getting better at a much quicker rate, because I'm not taking on anything too big, like not trying to bite more than I can chew. And just thinking about it, like this was a huge obstacle for me, because for Doodle Island, like I knew I wanted to make this animation. I wasn't sure if I want to do comics or like some other kind of like semi-animated kind of like RPG style, like dialogue kind of stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, maybe I can combine some of these elements, because I'm probably not going to be able to sit down and animate a show or like a series all by myself, right? No matter how hard I try, I'm not going to be able to. So I'm thinking like, I already have some ideas of like how I'm going to incorporate it with everything. And that's kind of the approach you have to take, because once I did that and I like chopped it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, like one thing at a time that I could do, then I was able to just start. I was able to just start doing it. Because when it was left as this huge grand idea in my head, I wasn't doing anything. I was just doing character designs and like coming up with story ideas and stuff like that. But it didn't do anything for me, and it ended up hurting me because it was too big of an idea to the point where I couldn't even like act on it and start it, right? That's my main point here, is just like, even if you have a grandiose, huge idea, chop it into smaller bite-sized pieces that you can tackle and you can get done, and create goals that are attainable so that you can achieve them. And by achieving those goals, it's going to make you better. You're going to grow. You're going to get faster at working. You're going to create a workflow that works at least specifically with that thing you're working on. And it's just overall going to like make you feel better about yourself, because you're finally like creating and finishing things. And it's just a big snowball effect that's really just going to help you in so many ways. And I've been experiencing that a little bit. It's still been really hard and stressful, and like, it's the grind is the grind, but I've noticed that it's helping me a lot. So I just wanted to share that idea with you guys today. And without rambling on too much, I'm going to end it there. So just, if you take away anything from this episode, don't get discouraged by having a grandiose idea. Those are beautiful. We're all going to have them. I sometimes can't go to sleep and will stay up until 3 a.m. just thinking about a story, and that's not going to go anywhere, or like, just have those ideas. That's totally fine, but be realistic. Chop your ideas into smaller pieces, chop them into small attainable goals, and just do them one by one, instead of trying to tackle something all at once that you think is going to just end up working, because it's probably not going to, and then you're going to hurt yourself in the end. And yeah, that's it from me. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.